Okay, here we go. Buck, yes, my dear. Right, everybody gets an A. All right, here we go. Buck, who did Franklin Roosevelt choose as his vice presidential running mate in the election of 1932? John Nance Garner. Okay, make sure you know him. Soraya, where was Roosevelt born? He was born on his father's estate. Where was it located?
Hyde Park, New York.
Hyde Park, New York. Very good. Okay, Bailey Gibbons. Ironically, who did Roosevelt support in the election of 1912 over his cousin Theodore Roosevelt? He favored somebody in the election of 1912, didn't even support his own cousin Theodore. Who did he support in that election? What? Hey.
Huh? Oh, Mr. Oh, Mr. I have it, I just remember.
Well, you might not have it in this notes, but you had it from the notes before. Who do you support, Courtney? Woodrow Wilson. Okay, Shania. What happened to Franklin Roosevelt when he was 39 years old that left his legs unable to walk or without help or leg braces the remainder of his life? He was diagnosed with polio. Very good. Okay, Blaine. Starting with Franklin Roosevelt's presidency, what are the first 3 months of a president's term in office defined by historians as? The first 3 months of a president's time in office is termed by historians as what? The 100 days. Very good. Okay, Mackenzie. What was the law that distributed more than $3 billion to needy Americans called? The law that distributed more than $3 billion.
Federal Emergency Relief Act.
Federal Emergency Relief Act. Very good. Kylie, who was the director of the Work Progress Administration, which was formed in 1935?
Harry L. Hopkins.
Harry L. Hopkins. Very good. Taylor, what was the law that called for the hiring of unemployed single men between the ages of 18 and 25 to plant trees, build bridges, and develop parks across the United States?
The Civilian Conservation Corps.
The Civilian Conservation Corps. Please do not put CCC. Write it out. Okay, Brooke, what was the law that distributed federal money to needy students who were paid regular wages for performing tasks in and around their schools?
The National Youth Administration.
The National Youth Administration. Very good. Nick, one for me, I should have. What was the name of the informal group of Negro advisors at the White House under President Roosevelt? Black Cabinet. Very good. And Will the Thrill, who is considered the most influential member of the Black Cabinet? Mary McLeod Bethune. Mary McLeod Bethune. And she founded Bethune-Cookman College in 1943, by the way.
Wait, I have a quick question. For some reason, okay, wait, since it's all capital thing, is it M little c or is it just all one?
It's actually M little c, if you were to write it
So then
out.
the L is capital L?
Capital L, yeah. Yeah, because on the ID sheet, I don't necessarily put it like that. Okay, all right. Carly? What was the name of the federal program that lent money to farmers at a low interest rate over 50 years to help them either get back on their feet or to remortgage farms they had lost during the Depression? What was the name of that federal program that lent money to farmers? Is that correct? Farm Credit Administration? If you ask me a question, then I have to ask you a question. Gracie Macy. What was established that banks could reopen for business only if they could prove they had sufficient funds to cover their deposits?
Emergency banking relief act.
Is that right?
Yeah. No, bank.
No, the bank holiday
Bank-
is what closed them down.
Established that banks could reopen for business only if they could prove they had
Yeah,
sufficient
yeah,
funds.
yeah. If you're gonna say what closed down all the things, that would be bank holiday. So
Well, let's think about that.
Yeah, but you said what made it.
For what, for the question,
Yeah, I was right.
Let's talk about this question, because one of the most difficult things about making a test is writing good questions. So the question is, the blank established that banks could reopen for business only if they could prove they had sufficient funds to cover their depositors. What answer could you have for that?
Emergency relief act.
Could you have bank holiday?
No, that's what closed them down.
Okay, that is a tricky question, but she is right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to reword that a little bit.
Wait.
Emergency.
The answer you're gonna want is the emergency.
What are you doing?
But I got to thinking about that question. You know, that question, it could confuse you into bank holiday too, because then, you know. Okay,
Gonna get a B.
okay, so what answer do we want?
Emergency banking relief act.
All right. Who is the Republican nominee for president in the election of 1936, Kyle?
Alfred Landon.
And where was he from? And what position did he hold at the time of his nomination? Go ahead, Tally. He was a governor of Kansas, okay? Anna, who was the Republican nominee for president in the election of 1940? And he was a very powerful Wall Street lawyer. Wendell L. Willkie. Let's see if I can. Sierra, I want you to briefly explain to the class Sarah Roosevelt's feelings on her son's plan for marriage.
She didn't like his wife, and she felt like she should be the one his wife.
Okay, pretty good answer. She was very possessive and did not think much of her son's plans for marriage, no matter who he would have married, because she didn't want, as Sierra said, another woman in her son's life. So it didn't have anything to do really with who he was gonna marry. So if you briefly explain Sarah Roosevelt's feelings on her son's plans for marriage, she was against her son marrying anyone because she didn't want any other woman involved in his life. Strange, but true. Yeah, a little bit. Chantel, which I just cannot get over that costume today, is a good one. Without getting your mustache in your mouth, tell me, what did Franklin's mother do while he and Eleanor were on their honeymoon? What did she do?
She rented them a house
Of her choosing,
and furnished it with all the stuff that she had.
that she wanted, yeah. She rented them a house of her choosing and furnished it with things that she wanted in the house. Yes, Mason?
So you said don't put CCC for the civil and
Conservation.
Corps. So does that go for all those, like the Farm Credit Administration?
Very good, yeah, very good question. Answered in its entirety, no abbreviations, very good. Good thinker. Speaking of you, give me one political position Franklin Roosevelt held during his political career. Was he? Yes, he was. Milo, give me another political position he held.
Obviously president.
He was the easy way out. Megan, what was the last one?
The last one,
What else was he? He was the president?
he was the assistant secretary of the Navy.
Okay, was he anything else?
Senate, and at the age of 29.
Yeah, he served in the Senate, he served as a governor, he served as the assistant secretary of Navy, and president. So I know those four political positions. You are-
Assistant Secretary of
What was,
Yeah, assistant
what was the
secretary
fourth
of the
one? President?
President.
Governor of New York?
Yeah.
What's his president?
All right, there are 20 answers there.
They're all.
I am gonna throw in, no, I am gonna throw in 5 questions that I didn't give you on the review that are gonna count towards your grade. So you might wanna review those notes a little
So
bit.
they're not extra credit.
That will not be extra credit.
No, that's
Debbie Downer. All right, listen up.